Hello everyone, welcome to CEEL-MOVIE-RECAPS. Today I am going to recap a 2023 movie. A lady is seen strolling, but her identity hasn't been revealed. The scene shifts to Fred and his boss Gabriel. Gabriel seems impressed with the work Fred is doing as his restaurant manager and praises him. Fred asks him if it's safe to go strolling in the middle of the night all by himself when Gabriel mentioned his intention to go out alone that evening, but he responded that he is an old boy and can take care of himself. Gabriel then informs Fred that he is ready and about to head out, so he should keep his niece that is coming by entertained till he returns. Fred jokingly asked if he is trying to set him up with a woman. Gabriel smiled and said that it won't be such a bad idea and left. Not long after, the lady in question walked inquiring about her uncle's whereabouts. Here we learn that her name is Kara. Fred tried to make her as comfortable as he possibly can as Gabriel instructed. The bartender is seen grinning at Fred as he goes by the bar to pour Kara a drink, but Fred tells him not to get any ideas because she is their boss's niece. Fred met Kara in tears as he returns with her drink. His heart was filled with empathy as he asks her what the problem is. Kara fought back her tears as she explains that she was just dumped by her boyfriend. Fred, out of curiosity, asks her why her boyfriend would do such a thing. Her response was that her boyfriend preferred his women thick. Before we know it, Kara turned the table on Fred as she inquires about his love life. Fred was deflective with his answers, but Kara won't have it. When she persisted with her questions, telling Fred that he is either gay or a demon since he said that he has never had a girlfriend. They then agreed to exchange their sad stories and shook on it. Fred began telling his story. A flashback moved to Fred's university days. Back then he was known as Taryor. As Taryor tries to woo a girl he likes by offering to buy her lunch, we learn that the name of the love of his life is Kemi. Her attention as well as others were drawn to nearby noise. Kemi gave her bag to Taryor and rushed to the crowd as they gathered around Magic. Magic is the most popular boy on campus. He is also the son of a senator and a musician. When the crowd cleared, Kemi returned and met Taryor at the same spot she left him, and he handed her bag back to her. She turned down his lunch offer, saying that she is not hungry so he should not bother, but reluctantly agreed to meet him at the poolside later that evening. At the poolside, we see the two friends conversing. They seem to be enjoying each other's company. When Taryor leaned in to kiss Kemi, she mistakenly fell into the pool and that awkwardly avoided the kiss. Following this, Kemi realized that it was late and they both strolled back to the hostels. Unbeknownst to Kemi, Taryor had prepared a small candle-light dinner for her back in his room with the help of his friend Chris. Fred has been extending numerous invitations to Kemi and she keeps turning him down, and tonight was no different. She excused herself to attend Magic's party that night. Kemi's roommates and Njumork were already dressed and waiting for her to join them to Magic's party. As soon as she walked in, they started to make fun of the relationship she shares with Taryor. Kemi tried to explain to them that she is only friends with Taryor because he never asked her to officially be his girlfriend. The roommates made haste and left for the party. At the party, and introduced Kemi to Magic as she has promised. Kemi believes that meeting Magic will be the right step towards her music career because it's known that Magic has made famous tracks with music celebrities. And Magic stepped aside as and demanded to be paid the money she is owed for introducing Kemi to him. To Kemi the introduction meant something, but to her roommate it was just a business transaction. Magic tried to grope her, but she slipped away. Taryor is seen sulking as Chris helps him to take down the little decoration they had earlier put up for Kemi. After making fun of his friend, Chris informs Taryor that Shadow came looking for him. Shadow is a gang leader that had befriended Taryor after he saved his life when he saw him being electrocuted. While Chris is skeptical about Taryor's involvement with a gang leader, he admits that it's good to have someone like Shadow on your side in order to go through school without any hitches. Back at the party, we see two men overlooking the party, but we do not know who they are. Magic bought drugs from a dealer even though he noticed that the drugs were not the same as the ones he usually buys. Magic waltzed Kemi to a private studio session and ended up forcing himself on her after taking the drugs that he got. The next morning, everyone was hungover. Magic was found by his friend on the floor in a bad situation with Kemi. Magic had no recollection of last night's incidents because the drugs knocked him out, but that was no excuse for the things he did to Kemi. Everyone freaked out, including Kemi's roommates. Jumork suggested that they get their parents involved, but An wouldn't hear about it. A bit of an argument ensued between them, but they agreed to take Kemi to go see a doctor. The doctor administered STD and birth prevention drugs on her and stitched her up because Magic really did a number on her. They all agreed to lie and spread a line of rumor that Kemi is being signed with Magic's record label and she is away in his recording studio. With this, they should be covered while Kemi recuperates, or so they thought. Meanwhile, Terrier was all worried since he hasn't heard or seen from Kemi in the past few weeks. Chris fruitlessly tries to make his friend forget about Kemi, arguing that Kemi is probably pregnant with Magic's baby, back in Kemi's room, and narrated how her boyfriend at the age of 14 forced himself on her as well as his 5 other friends just to get Kemi to snap out of her bad mood, but Kemi just chased them out of her room. And left with no remorse for what had happened to Kemi while Jumork reluctantly follows. Franca, Kemi's friend, came to see her immediately she heard that she was back from the studio recording thing. Franca could tell from Kemi's countenance that something was not right with her, so she pressed hard on her friend Kemi to tell what was wrong with her, and she spilled in tears. Terrier got a call from Kemi and he went to see her right away, and just like Franca, Terrier could also tell from Kemi's lack of enthusiasm that there was no record deal, and when he pressed for answers, Kemi opened up to him as well. Terrier told Chris what happened to Kemi and made him swear never to tell another soul and vowed to make Magic pay. Back to the present, Fred didn't want to continue the story because their lives went downhill after that, but Kara wants to hear the rest of his story, so they moved to a more comfortable position and Fred continued his narration. Back to the past, Terrier thought hard how next he could handle the situation and resolved to pay Shadow a visit because he knows that Shadow owes him and would do anything for him. Shadow himself has always told Terrier to come to him anytime he encounters problems on campus. At Shadow's hideout, Terrier explained what happened to Kemi. Shadow promised to take care of the situation. He sent his boys out to bring Magic back to him. A young dashing lady was paid to lure Magic out. Being a big womanizer that he is, he fell for the trap and was taken to Shadow by his men. As Shadow tortures Magic, Terrier began to have a change of heart and started begging Shadow for Magic's release. At that point it was too late to beg Shadow because to him he hates men who force themselves on women, because his own mother was forced by some men when he was a kid, and when he was old enough he went in search of them and got rid of them. Magic tried to escape and was shot at the back by Shadow. Here we still see those same 2 mysterious men overlooking the crime scene. Jumork rushed into the room with news of Magic's death. She explained that the police thinks the crime was gang-related because of the way the murder was carried out and tossed, and asserts that Magic didn't deserve to die even after all he did to Kemi. In addition, that Kemi will become the prime suspect if word got out about what Magic did to her. Terrier fell into depression following everything that happened. Magic's friend argues with and that whoever killed his friend must have had a personal vendetta against him because of the way the body was brutalized even after being shot twice, but An thinks that it may be a robbery gone wrong, but that's not the case obviously, since nothing was stolen from Magic's body. Terrier receives a call about Magic's death from Kemi and how the school and the police think she a person of interest in the murder case. He rushed out to see her. They talked about how her father wishes for her to travel abroad to further her studies since word has gotten out about what Magic did to her. Learning this, Terrier was devastated and wanted to persuade her to stay, but her mind and her father's have already been made up. Terrier tried to persuade Kemi not to leave him and travel during their phone conversation, but discovered that the police has seized Kemi's passport as she was considered a flight risk. When Kemi started playing the victim's card and blaming whoever killed Magic for her current predicament, Terrier lost it and blamed her for attending Magic's party that night. This infuriates Kemi, and he told Terrier never to contact her ever again and dropped the call on him. Terrier tried calling back, but to no avail. Following this, Terrier became devastated and helpless. At his moment of weakness, he confessed to Chris about being responsible for Magic's death, but was overheard by Magic's friend unbeknownst to them. He then immediately placed a call to the officer in charge of the case, and Tarjoer and Shadow's gang were arrested and prosecuted. Tarjoer got 10 years as he cooperated with the police on the condition that Kemi's passport be returned to her. Others got worse sentencing. Back to the present, Kara couldn't hold back her tears, but Fred made it clear that he wasn't entirely guiltless because it was his silly decision that got Magic killed and he got the punishment he deserved. If only he knew better not to make hasty and drastic decisions. Or maybe if he had made a real move on Kemi and confessed how he felt about her, all these wouldn't have happened and nobody would have been hurt. He obviously deeply regrets his actions and has learned a great deal from it these past 10 years that he spent behind bars. Following all this, he was right when they told Kara from the start that he had never had a girlfriend. When Fred was asked if he still loves Kemi, he said that he never stopped. Kara then called Kemi in. Fred was beyond shocked to see Kemi. He never believed that a day will come when he will set his eyes on her again. At this point we discover that young lady we saw at the beginning of the movie is Kemi, and she has been listening in on the conversation the whole time. Fred met Gabriel in prison, because Gabriel was wrongly accused but got out, not with making Fred to promise that when he was finally released he should reach out to him. So he did when he got released 2 months ago. Coincidentally, Gabriel then called Kemi out of the blues about an inmate he met in prison. Kemi immediately knew it was Tarjoer and her heart went out to him. In order to make sure that he still loves her, they orchestrated this plan for Kara to take the place of Kemi and get them the answers they needed. Chris and Franca were also involved in the plot. The two never stopped dating even after their graduation from the university. They are seen happy to reconnect their friendship after so many years of being apart from each other. Chris also promises to get Fred a new job at his company. The gladdens Gabriel's heart as he knew that the Fred's restaurant managing days were numbered. Gabriel also fondly called Uncle G by Kemi, blessed the couple and bid them farewell as he watches them leave. We now see Uncle G is in fact nobody's uncle but an angel of time. He has been the one we saw throughout the movie overlooking the various incidents that were happening. With his mission accomplished, he vanished. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more recaps like this.